Family, thanks for joining us. We are here on site at Building the Table Part 3, presented by The Closet Unlocked and Nobody's Darling. I have the amazing Cecilia Cuff here with us, CEO and founder for the Nascent Group. She's amazing. She just gave us some wonderful seeds here as far as being business owners and business leaders. So thank you for joining today. Now, I wanted to ask you, you mentioned DEI. Looking at the political landscape and the notion that there are those who want to remove DEI from the landscape in the workplace. What would your words be, or what are your thoughts around that being a black, business owner, entrepreneur?
Historically, as black business owners, we have always been up against systems that have been built against us. And so I do believe that the real power in DEI now lies in the communities. I don't think that we can rely or wait on governmental programs to be able to support us, because we know that although there have been buzzwords like DEI that came out of the murder of George Floyd, or came out of historically uneven or unequal access to education, or whatever it might be, or access to jobs. So although that there were these buzzwords, or that there were these systems and programs that were set up to be able to uplift and engage our community, there were those who ran it still didn't look like us. And so the effectiveness of some of those programs, or even the animosity that came from some of those programs within the workplace, created less results than I think maybe some of those programs were built to sustain. And so I guess I would say that I do think that from a grassroots standpoint, that ourselves as community leaders, ourselves as business owners, we can create our own, as it has done in the past. We can create networks and systems that support not only laterally, but also the next generation. Generational wealth is something that has been built in other communities and has been neglected in our own community. That knowledge, that opportunity, that access, and to be honest, that helping hand up. And so I think that at this point, DEI lies in the communities and not so much in businesses or in government, because again, we know that although those systems were created to seemingly work for us, historically, and the results tell otherwise.
She did that, y'all. She did that, okay? And I agree with you. I do. It starts really with us. We need to make sure that we're including and that we're teaching those lessons that need to be taught, and starting with our communities, to be honest, because we're the ones that are going to hold those values and pass them on to future generations. So I love that. Thank you for that. So being a part of this event today, Building the Table, what would you have to say in retrospect you gained from being a part of something like this?
To sit in a room with so much brilliance, and to sit in a room that has already supported each other. So, I mean, even your organization has bought gift cards from Bronzo Winery previously, to, those people in our community who, Peter in Reform School and the other panelists have been to Bronzo Winery. And so I think it's really about supporting small black businesses, is that we walk the walk. We just don't say it, and we talk, more than just talking. But I think the opportunity for us to reach and touch and to be able to support each other in a very real way feels good. And I think that's why forums like this are important, because this is intimate by design. We're not sitting on a stage 100 yards away from somebody else. We're sitting in a room with the ability to talk to and actually make real change today. And so being able to have conversations today with people from our community who are starting their business, or who are already incredible, emerging entrepreneurs who just maybe need a roadmap, or, a helping hand to be able to get to where they're trying to go, is important. I enjoyed the opportunity to be able to answer and speak to people, to answer immediate questions today. There are more interesting questions, I think, today than anywhere else that I've been. And so, I think the intimacy of today felt really important, and also the caliber of panelists. There are people who are on the panel today who are doing the thing. So
That's amazing. That's true. There was a lot of brilliance in the room, and I, for one, and being new on my journey, I was in such admiration for you all. Like, I'm thankful that I got to witness and hear what you all have to say, like the pitfalls or the things to look out from. And I think one of the pivotal moments for me was when we spoke on failures, and failures not necessarily, when you're an entrepreneur or a business owner, a failure doesn't have to be a failure. It's literally a pivot. It's a pivot. So one last question for you. So what lasting words would you have to someone who did not make it out today, and they're at home and they're watching and they're saying, I want to start my own business. I want that freedom that you've been able to experience with working from anywhere. I want to work on my dreams. What words would you have to say?
I'd say knowledge is king. There's so much education available online, and while not all of it is valid, there are people in our community who have access to YouTube or master classes, which I think are now recorded and online, or mentorship. There are so many free avenues for access to entrepreneurship, access to learning from other people's failures, which you touched on, is that we've made 100 mistakes, and I have people to reach out to who I ask questions before I move in business, because I know that they've made this mistake before. So I'd like to learn from other people's mistakes, so that it doesn't cost me the same amount of money as it costs them. So take advantage of those resources that are free. Take advantage of those people who have done things in your similar path, and don't be afraid. Most confident business owners are not afraid to share their secrets, because there's enough playing space in your field for everybody to play together. I think a lot of times we get a crabs in a barrel mentality, and that's not how successful business owners or entrepreneurs operate. We operate as a hum. We operate as a web, and we support each other. So find somebody who can mentor you. Make sure you consistently pay it forward, and take advantage of all the free materials and access to those materials online as you can, because we're constantly learning as entrepreneurs and as business owners.
Oh, thank you. You are amazing. I wish you all the success. We will continue to support you. And those of you at home, look her up, Cecilia Cuff with the Nascent Group, an amazing organization. Thank you again. You are amazing. So right now we have an emerging entrepreneur, business owner, brand mogul, I will say, Miss Alexus. How are you today, Alexus?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for asking. So thank you for coming out to today's event. So I have a question for you. Hearing the panelists speak today, what are some things that you think you've been able to put into your toolbox to take away in embarking on this journey that you're about to start?
How to process failure, I would say, because since I'm emerging and starting my own business as an entrepreneur, I don't really have an idea of what perfection looks like, and perfection is subjective. So even if I feel like I failed, others might not feel the same way that I do. So also, failure is a learning lesson. I'm trying to redirect my language instead of saying failures, just learning tools. So that was really like the piece of information I really enjoyed. Just understanding that failure is not always failure.
I think they say it's a pivot, right?
Yeah, it's a pivot, exactly. And I love that word, pivot, because that means that I could do anything. There's no ceiling for me, and that's exactly what I took away from it.
I love that. Yes, I'm taking that away too, to be honest. It gets real.
Everything, in every aspect of life, there is no ceiling.
All right, so looking forward to your journey, what are some things that you think you can kind of set yourself up to expect outside of the failures or the pivots, we're going to call them? What are some things you want to really be on the lookout for?
A community. What I realized coming to these table talks is that there's a sense of community in every single art form, and I think I need to figure out what my community looks like, where my community is, and how to identify that. But also, I'm not alone in this. So there are plenty of people that are doing the exact same thing as me. I'm not by myself. It may feel like it because it's my personal brand, but I'm not by myself in this. I have a village, and the village starts here. Even showing up, I think that's time and time again. This is part 3 of 4, and I've been to all 3, and I'm really excited to just take away everything is like the bigger picture once I complete the 4th stage of the series. I think this is very, very important that this is starting the segment of community. So yeah.
I love that. So you've been to all 3. So how has seeing how the series has evolved been for you?
Great. I really can be honest in that, because there is something that has been added every single time. So we didn't have this interview portion before, and now you're actually getting to see how I feel, and as an audience member versus just a regular panelist. So I really, really appreciate the footprint that Darius is leaving into this community. I really, really appreciate it. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. All right, so looking at the skill set that you've had already, can you give me maybe 1 or 2 ways or 2 skills that you kind of taken away that you want to enhance or focus more on as you go through your journey?
Would mentorship be a skill set, I guess? I mean, I would like to gain a mentor, I guess. Innovation. I would absolutely say innovation. I think innovation and creativity go a long way, and they really complement each other. Another skill set, I think networking. I think coming to these events, it's teaching me how to network, and I've never really been immersed in those kind of communities before. So even asking questions that, during the Q&A portions, that helps me at network, or even like listening to certain things that the panelists are saying, that's like, oh, I need to talk to her. Yeah, the networking piece and the innovation is making me grow as a person, but also for my brand as well.
Got it. I love that. Well, we can't wait to see what you do. We will be there to support you and help you along the way. And I look forward to more of these events as well, because they're needed. Sometimes we don't have the resources. Sometimes we don't have the mind to know what questions to ask.
You don't know where to go or start.
Yes, but this environment, this inclusive environment, creates that safe space for us to be able to be open enough to grow.
Yes, absolutely. And once you open that door, who knows who's going to walk through it. So let's keep doing this. I love this.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you, Alexus.
Thank you so much.
Family, thanks for joining. This is Keenan with Black Gay Table Talk. And again, we are on site here at Building the Table, Part 3, 2024, presented by The Closet Unlocked and Nobody's Darling. And right now, I am welcomed by the amazing entrepreneur, the one and only Kelli Coleman, CEO and founder for G&D Strength Society, right? How are you today?
Wonderful. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for asking. So I got the chance to sit in on the discussion, and you gave some amazing seeds for us to take away. And I want to thank you right now for your transparency in what we're going to call pivots and how you handle pivots as they come along. Can you share a bit of where you went with the pivots discussion?
Oh man. So the first pivot was getting kicked out of our space. So we got kicked out of our Ready for First space like 6 months into the lease. That wasn't in the cards. We had a great deal on rent. We were actually in the black after only 5 months. So we were winning. So we thought that it was time to expand. We expanded, and then we got kicked out. So I was like, what do we do? Okay, well, we expand. So I went from a 4,000 square foot facility to a 9,000 square foot facility after only being open 11 months. So that's how I handled that. And then talking about the second location closing down, it just wasn't serving me anymore. An employee was stealing money. I wasn't able to, I didn't have a life, I'm back and forth, I'm doing all this, and I'm like, why am I doing all of this? When I can pour into my roots, which are in Chicago. That's where I have my support system, my friends, my family, the members who love the gym. I wasn't getting that same love and support there. And there's a feeling where it's like, okay, this isn't serving me right now, on top of everything lined up to pull out. So the lease was up, all these things that happened. We found out a bunch of nonsense about the previous owner because I bought the business from someone else. So I was like, we're done. We're good. And being able to take that, like, that's not a failure. I'm just choosing what's best for me and what my goals are, and just moving on with that and not getting too hung up. I think a lot of people get hung up, and you can't be so emotionally attached to an idea, because expansion, growing, scaling, that's all just an idea. And you have to be able to think on your feet and just decide, okay, this isn't serving me. We have to move on. Like, the business has to go on. So, yeah.
I love that. So being able to be a part of building the table, right, as a black entrepreneur, black female entrepreneur, right, business owner, how does it feel for you to be able to sit in on a session like this and give back to the community who's watching, ready to learn?
It's amazing. A lot of things that I do, just working with the Chamber of Commerce and other, I don't necessarily want to say charity, but like, I volunteer a lot of my time for things like this because people don't see it. So if you think about, watching, a lot of people, they don't get to watch success happen in front of their eyes. I was fortunate enough that I had a family full of entrepreneurs and doctors, lawyers. My mom is a very successful pharmacist and business owner. So I got to see it, and a lot of people don't get to see it. And I talk to so many people who they know an entrepreneur, from afar, but they don't really know anybody that can help them. So I want to just showcase what it could be like for other people and share the knowledge. People are gatekeepers, and I'm not a gatekeeper, at all. And you find in the black community a lot, there are a lot of gatekeepers. There are a lot of people that won't help you, that won't tell you how they got from point A to point B, and it really wasn't even that deep. So I want to change that and be an open book for people, because if you are undeniably good, I can give you my business plan and you're still not going to be me. So what's the hurt in helping somebody with knowledge?
I love it. I love it. That's true, though. And it saddens me sometimes to see people be so closed off, or even the silos sometimes when you are trying to network and you're trying to break in, and you see how you have to be like this to fit in or like that to fit in, but really all you're trying to do is just learn from this person because you see something in them that you admire. And I think that it takes a certain level of humble pie to be able to just step back and see, okay, well, you know what? It's not about this person trying to steal from me. It's not about this person trying to do anything except what I tried to do at one point. And I think we forget that there are other people trying to do what we're doing. We didn't start off at the top. I love that. So one last question for you. Looking back at what was said during the entire event today, were there any takeaways for you that you might have heard or came to the conclusion of in your mind that you want to just share for those who might be watching from home?
I think the one thing that was brought up was work-life balance. And I'm so guilty of not, and I pushed myself to the point of being sick, having mental health issues and all that, more recently. And hearing other people talk about it, it's that's something that I really have to change. So I think as entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs, it's important to build those healthier habits into your everyday. And just do it. Don't feel bad about it. Don't feel like you have to work every single moment. Peter talked about, he looks at his studio, he feels like he has to work, and that's me too. I look at my laptop, I'm like, ooh, I got work to do. So I think that is something that I truly need to sit down and work on. So that was my biggest takeaway.
I love that. Well, we love you. We support you. Thank you for being transparent with us. Thank you for not giving up. And thank you for being okay with giving back and sharing. We appreciate you, and we wish you all the well. All right? Family, I am Keenan with Black Gay Table Talk, and we are still here on site at Building the Table Part 3, presented by The Closet Unlocked and Nobody's Darling. And right now I have the host with the hostess with the mostest, okay? Owner and CEO of The Closet Unlocked, Darius Caffey. Darius, how are you?
I am amazing. Thank you so much, Kenan, for being here and sharing more of this message out with people.
Yes, it was so much fun, y'all. It was so much fun. It was so enlightening, and if you didn't leave with at least 3 things to put in your toolbox, I don't know what you came for, but y'all got to check the footage out. But I want to ask you, Darius, so, and you shared a bit of this before, but what was that thing that pushed you? I'm sure you had time to, conceptualize it, but what was that thing that pushed you to go ahead and do a series like this?
Somebody asking me to do it, somebody telling me that we needed to have a space for these conversations, and I said, I guess I'm the one to be able to help you put it together, which was really what happened. Renata Riddle, the co-owner of Nobody's Darling Bar, we had a conversation. We had a great conversation around bringing more light to these stories, and we decided that we wanted to do more of it with more people in person to actually be able to be a bridge and a connector for these folks that are trying to build this table with us.
Yes, building a bridge and being a connector is so important. And I think about being in corporate America, right? So it's not many of us like that in corporate America, in those positions where they can mentor us, unfortunately, or help us climb that corporate ladder, so to speak. But you took it a step beyond climbing the corporate ladder to being in education, to being an entrepreneur, to starting your own business. So when you look back on what you've created with Building the Table, the series, are there any takeaways that you've gotten that you're able to implement for your own growth?
That was an amazing question. Oh my God. Not the questions being asked to the questioner. Yeah. For sure, and that's a great question because somebody earlier just actually asked me that about the impact of this series of events that I haven't thought too far ahead because, we're in the weeds of just doing and you don't understand that true impact until it's done. But I think with the 4-part series for a year, hopefully we come back next year with another 4 parts, but seeing how many people are inspired by these stories is something that really stands out to me. It just continues to prove that these spaces are important. It's really important for us to sit in community with each other and talk about the nuances of life that we don't get enough opportunity to explore. So I really enjoy the inspiration that comes from these events. I enjoy people in the audience being able to build connections to the panelists. Sometimes that's a barrier at different events and conferences. You don't get to talk to the people that are on stage. I wanted to break that wall down. What stage? We're all living and growing and trying to thrive as people. Why not create an environment where everybody can connect and work together to build these tables?
All right. I love him, y'all. I love him. He is amazing.
That's why we're here together.
Oh, yes.
Table.
Yes.
It's not just the individual thing. It's a collaborative environment. My goal is to always bring in more people intentionally that's mission aligned, that also believe in the power of our community. So I'm glad that we get to bring Black Table Talk.
Yes. Come on now. So, one last question. Is there any inkling that you can give us for what's to come? I know it's going to grow. I know new things, exciting things, innovative things. Any inkling, any exclusives that you can give us on what to expect?
Exclusive? I gave y'all a little exclusive earlier about us being accepted into the film festival. That was an exclusive. But if we're thinking Building the Table conversation, would love for this to be on a much larger platform. Love Nobody's Darling Bar, but maybe we can work together to be on a bigger stage, to bring in more people. The goal is always to bring in more sponsors so we can get more funding to support these events, so that way we can pay all the people that work here, we can pay all the guest panelists. People got to put their money where their mouth is in order for things to run and work. So all the funders out there, we are looking for you and we appreciate all your support. But yeah, just, bigger opportunities to create access for our people to talk about the things that they're doing, to connect with folks that may not know who they are or who their businesses are, and bring more light to those spaces.
I love it. Aw. So right now is the social mixer, right? Social mixer of the evening. So it's about to get turned up. But right before I let you go, I want to say thank you. Continue doing what you're doing. You are amazing. You're an inspiration to us, and there's no way that we can't look and see this positivity happening in the community. And I'm glad to see that you're on that positivity boat that's looking to change the narrative. So thank you.
I appreciate it. Day by day, we're doing this work, trying to figure things out. I'm giving my all to it, and I know you all are as well. So I'm glad to be in community and continue to do this with like-minded people.
Yes, and give us another take on what is going on with the Closet Unlocked. So you were recently accepted.
So we just got accepted into our first film festival for The Table on Air, which is a network broadcast TV show that we did in 2023 in partnership with Chicago Access Network Television. So we had just been accepted into the Black Alphabet Film Festival for 2024, where we'll be screening our season 2 finale of The Table on Air, which is really exciting. It was one of my most favorite episodes. I'm not going to tell you too much about what it's about. You got to come out to the film festival to see it. But that's really exciting, just as a media company, to be able to have one of your projects launched or announced or screened in a film festival, which is really huge. We also just started a book club, which is really exciting. Our last panel event, we had a rapper and librarian on our panel, Roy Kinsey, who started his own nonprofit library called the Rapbrary, and we had a conversation afterwards about our love for literature and books and wanting to do more for our people. So we launched a book club with Nobody's Darling Bar. It's called the Reading Came First Book Club, which is a reference from the Paris is Burning film, but it really does highlight the experiences of Black and brown LGBTQ authors and experiences around the world. So we hope to be able to create more spaces like this here at Nobody's Darling Bar, here around the city of Chicago, and around the world as well, to foster more belonging for all of our people.
All right, I love it. So y'all heard it here. Again, Darius, Caffey, thank you. You're amazing. We will have links in the description for you to go ahead and follow and stay in tune. We thank y'all for supporting, and keep a lookout. More amazingness is happening. So thanks for joining.